FuturestraderElite here on 10/17 with your NQ pre-market prep. It's been a pretty wild week with the volatility. Let's pull up a 1 hour chart real quick. Go over some key things that we probably need to pay attention to. So all these wild swings that we're having, this is that drive, that bleed off that we had Friday of last week. Hopefully we have a better Friday this week, but Fridays are always considered a watch out day for moves such as this. Let's move this to the 2 hour. Not big enough. Let's go to the 4 hour. Okay, so we got this major time frame trend line down here, this green one. There's the move on Friday. It never tagged it. Got really close. We drove up, and then we got this right here is what we're dealing with now, come down. So I moved my trend line, and what we're going to be looking for here, it being Friday, what I'd be worried about is, if they decide they want to pull this back and we take this out right here, we need to be really concerned, especially because if we take that out, that means we done broke through this major trend line. And when I look back at this, it depends on how bad they want to take it down. They could just start piercing through these other lows. This could be a major structure break. And we don't really want that to happen. But if it does, we need to be prepared to be on the bearish side and maybe not focus too much on the bounces. It's when you get these hard drops like this that you can get stuck trying to find areas of confluence where you might find the bounce, but it's almost better sometimes to, if they're going to do that and keep pop, drop, and take legs down every time it pops and it goes a little bit further, you're better off to find the areas of where it might pop to and keep shorting all the way down, and you'll probably have a better success rate than trying to buy the dip. It's crazy to think that we've dropped that much and then we got that high and now we're back down here. It's just the volatility of NQ. So I'm going to put this back to the 1 hour major trend line. We got this 1 hour. This red trend line fits better on the 15 minute. That's why it's there. We'll be on the 15 minute. We'll switch over to that in a minute. When you're looking at this structure, it started looking good with this, and then we dropped. It looked good when this trend line was right here yesterday. It almost looked like we wanted to get up here and go back to that all-time high, but that's usually sometimes what it looks like. It just wanted to get up there, and then if we can take this whole leg ends up dropping somewhere right here and we take that out, we could be in a downtrend for a while, possibly. I guess we'll have to worry about that if it actually happens. So we're looking, we're looking at $185, 200, 150. If we break 150 and take that out, then I just wouldn't be surprised if you see it drop 100 points at a time if that happens pretty fast. And then you might find them bounces around 100 points or 150 for decent bounce if you can find the right area that it's going to bounce and not pierce through your orders. So let's switch this over to the 15-minute and see if we can kind of put a plan together on what we think might be worth trading. We got this imbalance zone right here. You know that they might try to fill. If they wanted to take this another leg down, they might try to fill this before going down. And these are our two trend lines on the 15-minute. This is the 1 hour, and then this is a 4 hour, or could probably act as a daily. This line goes, I think this is the line I got going back to April or May. And we had talked about this on Monday in pre-market prep, I believe it was, about if we come back and take that low, if we come back and take this low out, it's going to get bad. So, and then there's a big gap down there. Imbalance zone needs to be filled because of that sharp drop Friday, and then the gap up on Monday when it opened, so, or Sunday night, whenever that was. So with that said, let's kind of look at what we might think if we can get bullish. This being the 15-minute, you know, if we can, the only trade right here that I see from where we're at right now is if we break this trend line, fill this imbalance zone, can maybe consolidate right here above this. Then right here we got break structure. You know, that's break structure around 665 or so. So if we can break that, and then with some momentum and get another push up, we really need to, if we could do that, we would really need to get a push and break above this green line, which is at about 860. This green line up here. I mean, each one's good. So say you break structure down here and you had a lot of momentum, you could say my take profit on this trade, if I take break structure, is going to be this green line at 735. But you would always want to follow it with a stop, you know, just in case it's been so, the volatility's been so crazy. What if it don't get there, turns around, or you get a big wick, or anything could happen and come against you. So make sure you're protecting your gains on the way up if you was in a trade like that. And then the same goes for each one. Or say that you got a partial fill up here and was still holding one, or however many you had, then the next idea would be up in here somewhere to next take profit and just keep moving that stop up. It's the only way, but we'd have to get above that 860 right here, which is right under that golden pivot. But to get bullish, you would think we'd have to break that back to the upside on at least this 15-minute chart. And then you got the pivot there. So if this came up here with some speed to this golden pivot at 872, that'd be an automatic short play for me, more than likely, just because of that's 520 to 870. It's a huge move to get there. But then say that they wanted to save this drop, and they get above the pivot and they chop around up here in this area, and then another leg up. I mean, these are all situations you got to look at when you're thinking what this might look like when we turn around. And then, you know, what if we don't though? What if this 15-minute trend line and it just does what it's sucking down right here, and then what if it just keeps dropping? Well, we're in a situation now, I really wouldn't be thinking too hard about a bounce right here. That's at 514 right now. And if it comes down here, we're at about 100 points. So, I mean, If it dropped right here real hard, yeah, I might buy on this line. But that would be the initial reaction, I'd have to have a game plan, you put an order or two down there, and if it drops with speed, put your, whatever your risk is, don't leave it too far down in case it comes down fast, hits it, barely bounces, and then another strong impulse down. At least you'll stop out and not be way down here somewhere in the red, kind of like this is right here. That's why that's there. I was trying to look at something and wanted to have it recording, but it's nothing important. And then if we do break down, you got your pivots, you still got some of these all these lines, but a lot of this stuff is being pierced through with the volatility that's in the market. Now this big trend line down here, there's no way that I wouldn't be putting some risk up on this big trend line. I'd have to say if it got down here after the market open, we're around here, that'd be another 300 points. Thing is it can do that. Where can we get to? This is something that I would want to see. Let's grab this box real quick. Okay, so here's something that I would be paying attention to if they keep trying to pull this to the downside. This candle is down around 157, 185. And we got this yellow line used to be a previous all-time high, 157. So we're going to come over here to, let's say, $175. Okay. And then let's go to 195. And then leave this box on here for now. So here's something I would be watching for, because if they do keep pulling this down and we try to figure out, what how far it might go or what might save it, or the way the market tends to move. Let's say that we pierce through this line, we get down here, it's a major line, and we pierce through it, but we had this previous all-time high, should act as some kind of support. I mean, it may sweep it, so then I got to think, well, what if we sweep all this and we get down into this box? If you look at my crosshairs, that's why I like using this, so that I can see time and price at one time. If you look to the left where my line is, look where it is on that other candle to the left, this one right here. So if we come down here and sweep into this box, we could come down here and sweep this area, and this go back up to all-time highs, because on a major time frame, this chart's on the 15-minute. Let's move this to the hour. It might look different, and you might understand a little better what I'm talking about. So if we're looking at this major time frame here, and we got this going, and we're right here on this candle, if this were to pierce through this and then sweep that line, these lines right here into this area, we're still putting in a higher low on a major time frame. That one right there. Or let's say that the yellow line saved it. I mean, that yellow line's at 235, and you you put a box from 235 to 245 or 255 could be an area, you know, and that could very well be, say that this major trend line did save it, or say that this gets over here today or whenever and tags that line. That's at about 315, which is quite a bit higher than this one down here. It's just something that, one of the things I think about when I'm looking at higher time frame structure, and how often they get so close to taking a low out, but all they really do is get close and then they turn it around and put a V in, or market be closed and then open up and do this right here, exactly the same thing. You know, you just got to kind of have a game plan for every kind of scenario when it comes to trading. But yeah, we're going to leave that box on this chart for now. I really wish, it being Friday, there's no telling what they're gonna try to do. Could get ugly pretty fast today when the market opens. And all we can do is be prepared. I know I got a bunch of zone boxes down here. I don't know how well they're going to play out depending on the kind of down pressure they might, if they put on the market. But what I will do is update it live in the Discord throughout the day. Everybody trade safe, trade smart, trade your plan. If things change on the chart in real time, you got to be able to adjust your plan on the fly. Don't just start jumping in or doing anything crazy. You know, if you have a plan, execute that plan. If something goes wrong, adjust your plan. It's like yesterday, you know, I had orders set on so many different trades and it just never got there. Sometimes it would only pick up one. Sometimes it would test an area 2 or 3 times but never pick my orders up. It kept me safe, keeps you out of the chop, you know. And then sometimes it's what you got to do. And when it misses you and it don't feel, just adjust. You got to adjust to what's happening next on the chart. And it takes a lot of time, but the more you watch it, the better you'll get at it. So that's all I'm going to have for today. Good luck. We'll do some recaps and some things in the live channel. And hit that like and subscribe. That way you're notified when pre-market prep drops every day. And come join the Discord for free. The links are on YouTube.